Hi friends! Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to day 13 of Veda. What? If you are unfamiliar with Veda, I will link the playlist up here. I think it's up in this corner, but it might be either of them. Go check out the whole playlist and come back and see me. So today's video has been inspired by my friends. A couple of booktubers have contacted me and recommended that I do a thriller recommendations video because I talk about how much I like thrillers, but yet I don't have a recommendations video up. And then my friends in real life have kind of encouraged me to make this video. And Jelly Bean thought that I should make this video, didn't you, bud? So this is Jelly Bean. My channel name should really be The Jelly Bean Show, where we sometimes talk about books. He's so cute. We're gonna give him his minute of fame. Right? Right, boo-boo? Yeah. Okay. And unlike in my best books, unlike in my best books of this year so far, these books are in order from least favorite to best of the best. But I recommend them all. So let's start with 11th place because yes, I'm that girl. I could not pick 10. So I have 11. Sorry. My 11th recommendation, or I guess my first recommendation, but in the 11th spot, is Then She Was Gone by Lisa Joel. So in this one, you follow Ellie. No, you don't. You follow Ellie's mom, Laurel, whose daughter, Ellie, has gone missing. And she was just gone. And then 10 years later, her mom, Laurel, is trying to rebuild her life and try to move past it as much as she can, but all she wants is answers. So she meets this guy, and they start kind of dating. And when she meets his daughter, who is 7 or 9, the daughter looks suspiciously like Ellie when she went missing. And that starts this intriguing mystery. It's more a slow burn mystery with thriller elements, but I'm still counting it because I very much enjoyed it. I love the atmosphere, and I love Lisa Joel's writing in this book. However, if you read a ton of thrillers, you're not going to be surprised by this one. I found it very predictable, and I was not shocked by the twists in here. But if you just want like a fun mystery thriller that you're just it's gonna engulf your soul, then just read this because the writing's great, the pacing's really good, it's kind of a slow burn. You have to put all the pieces together yourself until the very end, which I thought was done very well. I just saw it coming from a mile away. The next one is also more of a mystery thriller than thriller. This one follows two different timelines, so there you follow the Broken Girls. Oh, this is The Broken Girls by Simone St. James. You follow this boarding school for girls in the 50s when it first opens. And then you follow Fiona, whose sister went to this school 20 years prior, and now it's 2014, and this all-girls boarding school, it's now closed down. Her sister's body was found, and she doesn't think that the investigation went the way that it was supposed to, and she is going to this closed down school to figure out what happened to her sister 20 years ago. And it's a very fun mystery thriller. Yet again, it's very slow burn, great atmosphere, and it is my favorite between this and The Sundown Motel by this author is better. This one's a lot better. Number 9, hold up. Okay, number 9 is The Chalk Man by C.J. Tudor. I freaking loved this book. So, you follow these ragtag gang of kids in the 80s who find a dead body, and then 20 years later, these kids that found this dead body are now grown up, have families of their own. They start getting these chalk messages. You can't see it, but there's chalk. See the chalk messages on their pavement in front of their house, like they used to do when they were kids, but none of the kids or the adults now know who is doing it because none of them are leaving the messages. And then you get sucked back into the 80s, the late 80s, early 90s, when these people are kids, and you kind of go back and forth about what's going on. And I can't really tell you any more than that, so I know it's very vague, and I'm sorry, but just read it. It is such a good thriller. Then number 8 is The Passenger by Lisa Lutz. I have to say that I like the beginning, like the beginning half more than the ending, but this was still a very wild ride. So you start off with Tanya, in Tanya's perspective, when she is standing over her husband's dead body. She claims that she's innocent. But if she was innocent, why did she go on the run? That's all you have to know. But this is kind of dark and twisted and turny, and your mind is gonna just be so jumbled, it's gonna be spinning, and I love those kind of thrillers because it points in so many different directions. The ending was good because I didn't see it coming, but I thought it could have been better. The Night Swim by Megan Goulding. Oh, this is a wonderful book. This is perfection, almost. So, you follow this girl, I can't even remember her name. Rachel. Duh, Rachel. You follow this woman named Rachel who has a true crime podcast. So she goes to different court cases, different crime scenes and things like that to investigate, and then she talks about it on her podcast. And I loved that part. So she was following this rape case. in this very small town that she went to every day to get the coverage for her true crime podcast. And then someone starts leaving her letters on her car and starts following her around because this person wants help in a case that she is investigating because her sister went missing, and she wants Rachel's help to find her sister. So you follow, like, it's one timeline, it's one story, but alternating chapters of one is like in the courtroom, the podcast element, the crime part, and the other one is Rachel basically being stalked by this person who wants help with this other case that was a couple years ago, and you kind of get differing chapters. So my next recommendation is an author as a whole. He has 5 books out. I've read all 5. 3 of them are 4-star books, but I still enjoy them a lot. His other 2 are 5-star reads for me, and I would recommend these 2 over the other 3, but the other 3 are still good, even though they're not 5 stars for me. So I just want to recommend Riley Sager as a whole. So The Last Time I Lied and Final Girls are both 5 stars. I think Final Girls is a little bit better than The Last Time I Lied. But let's talk about what they're about. So this one was a gift from Amanda. So thank you, Amanda. I still keep this in here even though I've already read it. Maybe I'll tape it in the front. That'd be cool. But this is a great summer read. So you follow Emma, right? Yes. Emma, who went to the summer camp as a kid, and her 3 best friends from camp went missing, and now the camp has been shut down for 10 years and 15 years. Okay, I'm sorry, 15 years. And now Emma is invited back to this camp, and she decides that she'll go investigate what happened to her friends 15 years ago. And they're basically opening the camp for like one last year just to kind of say goodbye and everything. This one is very atmospheric, kind of dark, and I did not know who to trust in this book, which for me makes or breaks a thriller. But if you just want a fun summertime beach read, if you want a fun summertime camping story that is high stakes, fast paced, and very unreliable witnesses, unreliable main characters, unreliable everything, then go on this ride for The Last Time I Lied. Then my favorite Riley Sager of all time so far is Final Girls by Riley Sager. This was actually his debut, but I think it's his best work yet. This one is more of a thriller horror, so if you want to be scared, read this. I love being scared. I get so paranoid that I'm always looking over my shoulder, and I have a security camera at my house, so I'm always looking at that to make sure that no one's here. This one follows these 3 final girls of 3 different massacres. This, like, the aftermath of these massacres, somehow they have become friends because they are the final girls. And Quincy, I was really close. Quincy is the main girl. Her best friend, who is another final girl, was found dead at her apartment, and everyone is saying that Lisa killed herself. But Quincy doesn't believe that she would just kill herself after everything they've gone through and all the work she's put in to move past it in her life. This one had a huge plot twist that I did not see coming. Now that I've read a lot of thrillers, I might have been able to see it. But it was such a fun read. It's very action-packed. There's no one you can trust. And Riley Sager, just in general, has a very atmospheric writing style that is perfect for thrillers. So I think this is the perfect summer read, and I would suggest reading this in the fall, but honestly, you could probably read it anytime. And putting them in order surprised me about which one or ones are my favorite. So number 4 is Here and Gone by Henley Beck. This follows a woman named Audra. I'm like almost certain Audra. Yeah. I'm not good with names. I'm so sorry. But Audra is driving from Pennsylvania to California to leave her husband, and she has her 2 kids in the back seat of the car, or so you think. So Audra gets pulled over by a police officer. He says that there's too much weight in the back of her car, so it's kind of getting pushed down. And she's like, okay, well, I'm just going up the street to the B&B. Can you follow me? And instead, the cop arrests her. And from there, you go to jail with Audra, and she's trying to figure out what happened to her kids from jail. And the officer claims that she didn't have any kids with her, that the car seats in the back of her car were empty, and he never saw any kids. But she is claiming that the police officer kidnapped her kids, and that she needs to get out of jail so she can go find them and investigate what is going on in this small town in Arizona. That's all you have to know. That's all you should know going into this, because they are 2 completely different stories, and I knew who I wanted to be telling the truth. But see, this one scared me so bad. Not like jump scares or whatever, but like fear in my heart. This struck fear in my heart. I want to be a mom more than anything, and I can never read books that endanger kids or anything like that. So this one terrified me, just as someone who wants kids. Like, how could a mother do that to her kids? Or how could a cop do that to my kids? Me? I'm not a mom yet, but if I were and you were telling, I would kick you. I would do more than that, but, you know, I'm not going to make threats. But this was so good. It terrified me to my core. So if you have, like, the same fear as me about having kids and them getting hurt or put in danger, don't read this. Or just remind yourself that it's fiction. I had to remind myself it was fiction a lot. Okay, these 3 are my favorite thrillers of all time. So, number 3. This was very hard for me to do, but this is Pretty Little Life by Darby Kane. This one, you follow Lila, who was the last person to see her husband's dead body. And she claims that she killed him. So, unlike the passengers, where she says she's innocent, she tells you up front that she killed him. But when Lila goes back to find her husband's body, or move it, or whatever, it's not there anymore. It's not where she left it. So then things get terrifying when Lila starts getting these letters on her doorstep, like threatening letters, and she can't go to the police because, you know, she killed her husband. So she investigates what's going on, and mind blowing, the ending of this book was like straight out of left field. Never saw it coming, and oh my gosh, this book gets your heart racing, but at the same time it's a very action packed, but it's slow burn and character driven, and it'll make you think you're going crazy, because I thought I was going crazy, and I thought that Lila was crazy. I'm not going to tell you if that's true or not. Like, I didn't know what to believe, or if Lila was telling the truth about anything. So, if you want a fun ride, grab this. I read this in one sitting, which does not happen very often with thrillers. Usually it's like a slow process of, okay, but this gripped me from the first line. My second favorite thriller of all time, No Exit by Taylor Adams. So, in this book, you follow this woman named Darby who's going home for Christmas break, and she's going to visit her mom, but she gets snowed in this rest area where there are 4 strangers already there. And when she looks in the car parked next to hers, she sees a child locked in a cage. If you were in that situation, what would you do? Would you help the child, or what? This is yet another atmospheric read. It happens during a snowstorm in Colorado, so it's a very good winter read, but honestly, you can enjoy this any time. This is thriller horror, I would say, because there are a ton of horror elements. There is light body horror in this as well, so if that's something that you can't read, then I understand. It doesn't have a lot, though. It's just a little bit. An action-packed thriller horror And it's an isolated thriller because it all takes place at this rest area, and it's supposed to take place in one night, but oh my gosh, it's just one thing after another, after another, after another, action-packed. It just fills my soul with, well, anger, and I was scared. It was great. This is my favorite book, thriller of all time. And I went into this book thinking I was gonna hate it, so I got the audiobook. Audiobook is great, by the way. But I don't like anything I've read by this author until this book. That is The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. I literally just finished this a couple days ago, and it has to be my favorite thriller of all time. Oh my gosh. How do I explain this one? So this one follows a nanny named Rowan who gets this job for a wealthy family taking care of their kids. And these girls, she takes care of 3 girls, and then the teenage daughter comes home on weekends from boarding school. So sometimes she has 4. But these 3, one of these kids ends up dead, and Rowan is in jail for murdering this child. And like I said earlier, I can't read things about kids getting hurt, but somehow this just worked. So this story is kind of from Rowan's perspective, and she's writing letters to someone that she's trying to hire as an attorney. And she says from the very beginning that she didn't do it, but I didn't trust her. There are so many plot twists in here that I did not see coming, and the atmosphere is perfect. So if you listen to this on audiobook, the audiobook actually has some of the horror elements, like she hears stuff upstairs, or like above her room, and you can actually hear what she's hearing in the audiobook, which is just wonderful. This is so dark and atmospheric, and again, I think there are horror elements in this, but the ending, I did not for a million years did I guess this one. It was such a fun ride, and I know that I literally said that about every single book that I recommended today, but this book is top tier. I don't think I've ever read a book that was anywhere close to as good as this one, so maybe that means I should give Ruth Ware another chance. Oh, I think all the characters had layers to them, and it's so good. It was unexpected because I really thought I would hate this book. But those are my top 11 thrillers because I couldn't pick 10. This is my adult version. Tomorrow on day 14 of Veda, we will have my top YA thrillers, so you don't want to miss that. Subscribe down below, hit the notification bell, and don't forget to like this video. It really, really helps my channel.